If you're strapped for cash or simply want to take advantage of free money that's available in grants, then I'm going to give you every resource available to get money right now. Yes, even if you're not hurting for money, you may still want to take advantage of some of these opportunities so your competitors don't blow past you and leave you in the dust because they're taking advantage of it. By the time I'm done with this video, there should not be anything else for you to do but to get to work and start completing these applications at the right places. Don't watch any other YouTube video on how to find a small business grant. Don't search for another keyword phrase in Google, because I've already done all of that for you and will give you everything that you need to know right now. Hi, my name is Sherman. I'm a CPA and I own 2 companies that help small businesses specifically. In this video, I'm going to tell you exactly where I would go to find money for my business immediately. I'm going to give you the most effective ways to find grants, regardless of the time period. And I'll also go over some of the hot grants related to the COVID recession. I'll tell you what you need to know in order to start applying and the most common mistakes that I see my clients make time and time again when they're searching for funding for their business. Now, if this video helps you in any capacity, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. We're all about helping small businesses grow. So with that said, let's begin. First of all, what is a grant? Let's go ahead and get this out of the way. A grant is simply a sum of money that is given for a particular purpose. It is most commonly given by governments and sometimes other organizations. Now, other organizations such as nonprofits are very important here because the government frequently provides funding to nonprofit organizations who in turn grant money to small businesses. Now, many people ask me, well, what's the difference between a grant and a loan? It's very simple. A grant does not have to be paid back and a loan does. Now, if you do not use a grant for the specified purpose, you may be required to pay back the full amount and possibly suffer more consequences. So only apply for grants that are specific to your business needs. Now that that's out of the way, let's talk about the most effective ways to get grants. Generally, the most effective way to receive grant funding is to start where you are. Start with your local city or county government. Then move up to your state and federal government. Local government grants are generally less competitive and also more intentional about serving small businesses in their areas. So let's start with local government first. Now, there are a few different places you can find local grants. Number 1, you can find them at your local small business development center. Number 2, you can find them at your local economic development authority. And then number 3, you can call your elected officials' offices directly to provide you with grant options. Now let's discuss all of these options, starting with local small business development centers, also referred to as SBDCs. SBDCs are organizations that are funded directly by the government to support small businesses. In addition to SBDCs, the Small Business Administration, more commonly referred to as the SBA, may also have local chapters that address the needs of small businesses in your area as well. To start, just search for local SBDCs in your area and browse their websites. Most will have financial programs and assistance right on their website. For example, I live in Atlanta, Georgia. And when I search for Atlanta Small Business Development Center, this is what shows up. I can browse their website for financial resources or call them directly. Now, I strongly recommend calling these chapters directly as they may have access to grant programs that are designed specifically for your small business. Now, let's move on to the second tactic, which involves contacting your local economic authority. Most cities or counties have an economic development center. In short, these centers want to create better opportunities for people in their communities. And what do you think is the best way to create those opportunities for people? By creating jobs. And they cannot create jobs without businesses, which is why this is a great place to start to find business grants for your business. These centers spend enormous amounts of time and money finding ways to attract businesses to just simply come to their communities. They provide grants, loans, tax credits, and so much more for businesses to come to their community. They literally bend backwards to spur economic growth in their area. This is practically why Amazon virtually pays no taxes, because of government incentives to bring their corporate business to specific areas. So to find your city's economic authority, just search Google for your city's economic authority. For example, when I search for Atlanta Economic Authority, I find Invest Atlanta. Now, due to Invest Atlanta, I save over $100,000 per year in business taxes through their tax credit programs. But I'll save that for another video. My only point is this stuff is real. So be sure to subscribe to our channel to learn every way to grow your business effectively. Anyway, find your economic development authority. View their programs and call them directly to find grants for your business. Now let's move on to the third tactic, which involves calling on your elected officials directly. As funny as it sounds, calling your elected official's office is a hack that most for-profit grant companies use to find grants for their customers. Now here's the truth. Government spending in the United States represents 1/3 of total spending in our country. The government themselves is a major contributor to the net worth of our country. This is why corporations spend billions of dollars in lobbying, so they can tap into the government funds and incentives to grow their business. Now, fortunately for small businesses, there are already incentives set aside for you. You just need to know where it is. So, to get to the point, this is what you need to do. First, find out what district you're in. You can do this by using a website that I found called openstates.org. Next, just pop in your zip code to find elected officials that specifically serve your area. Lastly, click the official's name and call them directly. A representative from their office will normally answer. When they pick up, just say, "Hi, I'm a small business owner in your district. I'm seeking assistance with obtaining grants and was hoping to gain some information about available grants in this area." I promise, guys, don't be shy about this. These people are in office to serve you. Your tax dollars are being used to fund these programs. So as a citizen of that district, you have every right to inquire on what grants they have available. They will either help you or point you in the right direction. You may also ask them for information about nonprofit organizations that are also doing grants for small businesses. Oftentimes, there are many more organizations that exist than just the SBDC or SBA. For example, East Cooper Community Outreach is a community-based nonprofit in Charleston, South Carolina. They specialize in helping low-income people in their community obtain financial aid. These are the type of organizations that you're probably not going to find searching on Google, but these are also the organizations that you can find by picking up the phone and calling your elected official's office. And here's a major hack. You can also ask them directly for a letter of recommendation to help you obtain specific grants. Yes, elected officials can endorse your company to help you obtain funding. Now, this does not guarantee that you'll get it, but it surely does help. But what do you think about these tips so far? Is it helpful? Let me know in the comments below. If it is, please help me out by hitting the like button below. Now let's move on to state and federal government grants. State grants are generally more competitive than local grants, but what do you have to lose? At the end of the day, this is free money available to people. And as long as you fit the criteria, there's no reason why you should not apply. Okay, now here's how to get started. First, find your state department's economic development authority. This follows the same exact process that I gave you for the local example. When I search for Georgia Economic Development Small Business Grants on Google, it takes me to the exact page where I can view all of the loans and grants available for my business. Do the same thing in your state and see what you can find. Once you find your state's economic authority, don't hesitate to call them to get the exact information that you need. I can't emphasize this enough. pick up the phone and call these people. Remember, they are here to help you. Now, let's talk a little bit about federal grants. Then I'll tell you what you need to do in order to be successful in applying for these type of loans. Now, federal grants, like state grants, are traditionally more competitive due to the amount of businesses applying for them. But right now, this has changed dramatically due to the COVID recession. We've seen the federal government support small businesses like they never have before, in effort to stop small businesses from going out of business and for them, halting job creation. Now, the first place I recommend to find federal grants is SBA.gov. The SBA is the only federal agency dedicated to small businesses and provide capital for them as well. This is where the most popular federal grants are listed for small businesses. This includes things like the Paycheck Protection Program, also known as the PPP loan, and the EIDL, which is the Economic Injury Disaster Loan. Now, I know what you may be thinking. You might say, Sherman, I want a grant. I thought this was about grants, not loans. Well, wait, before you do that, here's the thing. These programs work like grants if used correctly. For example, the PPP loan was essentially a forgivable loan if it was used for specific expenses like rent and employee salaries. Anyway, read between the lines to make sure you fully understand these programs. So to get started, go to SBA.gov, view their funding programs, and find programs that best suit your needs. Okay, so at this point, I've given you local, nonprofit, state, and federal options to secure grant funding. Now, let's make sure that you're buttoned up correctly so that when you start applying for funding, you have a good chance of getting accepted. Let's talk about what you need to have and my top tips for success. Before you start applying for small business grants, you should have these things done. First, make sure your business is incorporated into an entity. Your business should have a unique employer federal identification number that shows that you own a real business. Secondly, your business and personal taxes should be complete. Grant providers will want to know the current standing of your business, including your income. Make sure your tax returns are up to date for the most recent tax period. Third, your business books should be up to date. In most cases, you must provide your financial records for your business in order to qualify for certain grants. They'll want this to make sure that you have an actual need for the money that you're requesting. Fourth, you should be operating in a separate business bank account. Remember, grants are only free if you use the money appropriately. To make it easier for yourself to do your books and for them to audit you if funds are used correctly, conduct your business transactions from a business bank account. Finally, you should have a plan for the use of the grant funds. If you're awarded grant money, what will you do with it? You should know this before you apply for grants. They're going to want to know what your plan is for the money that they're giving you. You can take this a step further by forecasting your financials based off of receiving the grant money. Show them what you're going to accomplish through the use of those grant funds for yourself and for your customers. By tackling these items in advance, you will have a better chance of obtaining grant funds quickly. In short, you're going to make it easy for grant providers to give you the money you need to run a successful business. If you need help with any of these things, like setting up a business entity, filing your business taxes, catching up your books, or financial projections, just contact us and we'll be happy to help you. We do this every single day for our small business clients. Otherwise, let's quickly summarize this video so you can get straight to work on applying for grants right away. Here's the recap. First, we tackled the question of what is a grant? Remember, a grant is simply a sum of money used for a particular purpose. As we discussed, make sure you can clearly articulate what purpose you will use grant funds for when applying. Next, we spent time discussing where to find grants. We recommend generally starting at the local level with your city or county government. Find out who's running the show in your district, call them, and ask them where you can find grants. Then branch out into seeking state and federal grants. Lastly, we discussed what you should have in order to be successful in your grant search. You should have an incorporated entity, completed tax returns, up-to-date books, and most importantly, a plan on how you intend on using grant funds. I hope you enjoyed the content of this video. If you did, please click the like button below and subscribe to our channel for more content on how to grow your business. Talk to you soon.